Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha. Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रेवचर सुस्दिवान के सही श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य शिला प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रेवचर सुस्दिवान के भक्ति सिद्धांत प्रभुपाद महाराज की अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद की नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तविंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गौरधाम की मायापुर धाम की वृंदावन धाम की अयोध्यापुरी धाम की मथुरा धाम की द्वारका धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा मैया की जमुना मैया की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की श्री श्री किशोर किशोरी की श्री श्री गौर निताय की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा देवी की श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान जी की शीला प्रभुपाद की हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की निताय गौर प्रेमानंद। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadayine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito na oparato narsimho. Yato yato yami tato narsimho. नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरेणकाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गाम् दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
श्री नरसिंह भगवान की जय, श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। On behalf of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, we welcome you all to Sunday Feast program here at Sri Sri Kishore Kishori Temple. We have a very special guest today. Before I announce his name and his bio, I would just like to check and welcome all the new members who have come for the first time to the temple. Can you all raise your hands who has come for the first time to the temple? Can you please be a big Hari Bol to them? Hari Bol! Can you please keep your hands up? We have a small gift for you. Please do keep coming. We have this program every Sunday evening, starting 5:30 with musical, kirtan, chanting of the holy names. Then we have a small discourse usually, and also we have prasadam, which is vegetarian, sumptuous vegetarian food on the third floor. Yeah, there. All right. So a few announcements. We are actually in the very auspicious month of Kartik. This is a very auspicious month for all the practicing devotees all over the world. And we usually do a arati in the evening from 7:30 to 8. So please stay back after you come from the prasadam. It's a very enlightening and very wonderful experience. You all get to wave a ghee lamp in front of the lordships. So that is a very wonderful experience, and there will be some kirtan that will be going alongside with that. So please do stay back. Also, we have a festival coming up on October 25th. Please mark your calendars. October 25th. This is a Tuesday. It's an evening program. It starts at 6 p.m. As you all probably know that we are heading towards Diwali. We will be celebrating Diwali and Govardhan Puja together here in the temple premises, starting at 6 p.m. With again the same routine of kirtan lecture, and then we will have some special Govardhan made here, and then we'll also have parikrama and all that. So it will be very nice. Please do try to come. It's October 25th. There are a lot of sponsorship opportunities. We will be having flyers posted all over the temple and also in the WhatsApp group and emails. Okay, for tonight's speaker, they're running a little late, but I'll just announce his name. He will be there in another 5-10 minutes. His name is His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. Those who have heard him, he needs no introduction. And those who are new, just to let you know, he is a very profound speaker on the Vedic literatures. He is a disciple of His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj. He is he speaks from the heart, and he touches everybody's heart with a lot of enthusiasm. And you will see him when he's come here. So he will be there in 5-10 minutes. Till that time, we will do some kirtan. Can we do some kirtan? Yeah. Yeah. So we'll do some kirtan till he comes, and then we will listen to his discourse.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
So we have His Grace Amarendra Prabhu right here. Could you please welcome him with 3 loud Hari Bols? Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! So there is a slight change in the program. He may go till 7 p.m. So we will have prasadam at 7 p.m. on the 3rd floor. And we will have Damodar Ashtakam at 7:30. So 7 to 7:30 prasadam, 7:30 Damodar Ashtakam right here again. Right? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. It's my honor and privilege to be here at the lotus feet of Kishore Kishori, at the lotus feet of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, with this rare opportunity of speaking about Krishna for the pleasure of the Vaishnavas. Thank you all for kindly participating in the Sunday Feast program. In today's discussion, we will try to speak on the subject matter of the attractive qualities of Krishna. Krishna is a person. Sometimes when we think of God, we think of someone up there in the clouds, waiting to punish us, just waiting on the edge of his seat to see if we're making mistakes, and then to keep an account of all our mistakes and to curse and burn us in hell forever. Sometimes we see God as someone who's very judgmental. We see God as someone who's hard-hearted. And the argument that's given is, God can be a good person because look how much evil is going on in this world. If there was a God in the first place, then he must be light. I don't think he has a form, because God is everywhere. And if someone has a form, then he's limited by that form, right? Let's say if someone like us, we have a form, so I'm sitting here, but I'm not there. And if I'm there, I'm not there. But God is everywhere, so how can he have a form, right? And not just light, he can't be understood. Then why even have discussions to understand him? There's one commentator on the Bhagavad Gita who says Krishna means black. Black means unknown. Then why should we even read the Gita to know the unknown? So there are commentators like this who have no clue of God. But our very beloved founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada explained that God is a very beautiful, wonderful person. Not just externally beautiful, he's internally beautiful. And he has so many beautiful, attractive qualities. There's an example given that if you use all the water body in this world as ink, and you make a pen of the most wonderful, wish-fulfilling, desired trees. Think about the most beautiful, wish-fulfilling, desired trees of the heaven. And from the branches of one of those trees, you make the most exquisite pen. And you fill it up with the ink which is used from the water of innumerable ocean surfaces. So all of the water body in this world is used as ink. And the pen is made out of the most celestial branches of the wish-fulfilling trees of heaven. Then where is the paper? All the surface of Mother Earth is the paper. And who is writing? The goddess of knowledge, Saraswati. For how long? For eternal time. The statement goes, if the goddess of learning, Saraswati, for all times to come, uses the surface of earth as paper, uses the most exquisitely formed, wish-fulfilling trees of heaven as the pen, and the ink of the water surfaces of the ocean is used, still she will not be able to describe the compassionate, beautiful, wonderful, heart-melting, attractive qualities of God. It's like saying, let me count the number of $1 bills Elon Musk has. Think about how many $1 bills. I was going to say Bill Gates, but then I said Elon Musk. Imagine if you had to count all his money in terms of $1 bills. It's not possible. Because by the time we make the effort of counting, he has another $1 billion deposited. And then by the time I start counting, another billion. So it's almost impossible. And that's just a worldly example. Think about attempting to count the beautiful, wonderful qualities of God. Neither are those qualities conceivably countable, nor do we have the intelligence and the capacity to do it. So it's a perfect combination of a no-no. Impossibles. But in the discussion today, we will try to count a few beautiful qualities of Krishna. And with a few examples from the wisdom texts of the East, namely the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Puranas and the Vedas, etc. And the purpose of today's discussion is only one thing. Let our heart get attracted to the attractive qualities of God. The purpose of devotion is not to be God-fearing. The purpose of devotion is to be God-loving. And how can you love someone that you're not attracted by? So the first step on the path of God realization, the first step on the path of spiritual awakening is to hear about the sweet qualities of God, by which the heart must melt. And we should feel some love in the heart that yes, here is a person who has charmed my heart. Here is a person who is lovable. Here is a person I want to serve with devotion in my heart. Otherwise, we may say, I come to the temple, I chant on the rosary beads, I chant the holy names of God, I read the texts, but you're doing it as a duty. That's not going to give you joy. That's not going to give you joy. If someone gets into a doctoral program, a PhD program, and thinks about how quickly can I get done with this, they're not going to do a good job. The purpose of the doctoral program is not worry about when you graduate. It's about loving that journey of research. When you enjoy that process, you can be successful and the chances of you graduating is faster. And same is the path of devotion. When we come to the process of spiritual awakening, it's not about the rituals. It's not about how much I am doing. It's about with what mood I am doing what I am doing. Why do I need a God? Why do I need to serve Him? Because somebody told me, that's why. Because I want something out of God, that's why. Or because it's my duty, that's why. The answer is none of this. The reason why we want to serve God is because we want to come to the platform of actually loving Him. We don't want anything from Him. We didn't pray for the breath that we breathe. We didn't pray for the money that we have. We didn't pray for the food that we eat. We didn't pray for the clothes that we wear. We didn't pray for the way we look and the resources we enjoy today. When God is so kind to give me what I have, even without me praying for it, imagine how lovely His heart is. He is flooding with compassion. I just need to learn the art of reciprocation. That's all. So the process of devotion is to get attracted to Krishna. You can call Him by different names. In Sanskrit, the word Krishna means He who is all attractive. And God is all attractive. And He's all attractive by His qualities. So with that as the introduction, because it's a Sunday feast program and I'm pretty sure there'll be people from different backgrounds. So we just want to bridge it to the topic of our discussion. We will go on for 45 minutes or so. And of course, I am not coming here to lecture. I am not coming here as a scholar. I am not coming here as someone to speak to you. I am coming here to speak with you. So we will have a discussion. I will try to share a few thoughts for some time. And then any questions, any inputs, and most importantly, any corrections, any reflections, I would be more than happy and grateful to accept it. Is that okay? Did I already put you to sleep? I sometimes say it's completely okay to sleep, but just make sure you don't snore. You know why? Because if you snore, the person sleeping next to you wakes up. So let's begin. The first quality of God, the first quality of Krishna, the first quality of Krishna is that He never forgets the service that you render to Him. This is the first quality. Think about the boss in this world. You try to please him. You try to build your reputation to such an extent that your boss will give you a hike in the package. He will pay you more. Or you try to impress him so that you get promoted. You try to impress him so that you can be up the corporate ladder. And guess what happens? After all that 3-4 years of hard work, that boss quits. Now a new boss comes in and you have to start this all over again. But with Krishna, it's not like that. One flower, one leaf, one fruit, little water, offered with love. Even 100 lifetimes ago, Krishna still remembers it. I want to give you an example. There was a very great king by the name Muchukunda. Now King Muchukunda, there was a battle going on between the demigods and the demons. And the demigods, they came to King Muchukunda and they said, we need your help in fighting the demons. So King Muchukunda said, what will I get in return? I will jump in and help you, but what will I get? The demigods said, we will give you whatever you want. You make a benediction, you ask for a boon and we will fulfill it. So Muchukunda said, fair enough. He got onto the battle, fought the demons from the sides of the demigods, and guess what? Won the battle. Now was the time for payday. King Muchukunda came to the demigods and he said, well, time for the benediction. So the demigods said, ask for what you want and we'll fulfill. Muchukunda became so tired fighting this war, he said, well, I just want to sleep. That was a joke. But because he was so tired, he just said it. And the demigods, even before accepting that joke, they said, so be it. And he hadn't even asked for the benediction. He just said casually, well, I'm tired, I just want to sleep. Because he had waged this war. So the demigod said, so be it. He said, wait, that wasn't what I wanted to ask. They said, no, we already granted it. If you want, you can add something to it. Muchukunda said, well, let me just complete it then. Give me the benediction, let me sleep. And if somebody wakes me up, let me have fireballs in my eyes, that by opening my eyes, I can burn them to ashes. Quite a drastic, dramatic benediction. So the demigod said, so be it. Now Muchukunda felt drowsy, he went off to sleep in a cave. The whole of Satyuga went past. The whole of Treta Yuga went past. Now it was almost the end of Dwapar Yuga. There were 3 millenniums which had passed and Muchukunda was still sleeping. Why? Nobody dared to wake him up. Not even the alarm clock. Now it was the time when Krishna was performing his pastimes. There was a demon by the name Kal Yavan. Kal Yavan was chasing Krishna. Kal Yavan was chasing Krishna and Krishna was walking away from him. It's described in the pastimes. Kal Yavan was sweating, chasing Krishna as a full-grown man. And Krishna was looking at him, chuckling in disbelief that he was just walking and Kal Yavan couldn't even catch up with him. So Krishna was walking one step at a time, looking behind and laughing at Kal Yavan. And Kal Yavan was running, sweating hard, but he couldn't catch up with Krishna. On the other end of the spectrum, let's think of the Damodar Leela. The very famous pastime where Mother Yashoda, the mother of Krishna, ran behind him with greater speed and caught him and made Krishna cry for his life. Now when you contrast Mother Yashoda with Kal Yavan, you can see Mother Yashoda was a woman and she wasn't used, habituated to running. She was just a simple cowherd girl. She was not used to running. But Kal Yavan, being a man, being a Kshatriya, he had practiced running. Kal Yavan was way faster than Mother Yashoda. Second, Krishna with Kal Yavan was walking away from him. But for Mother Yashoda, he was running. Kal Yavan was young, Mother Yashoda was old. And still she could catch Krishna while Kal Yavan could not. It is not our skill, it's not our ability, it's not our talent which catches Krishna within our purview. It's our devotional heart which can conquer the heart of the Lord. Mother Yashoda, the mother of Sri Krishna, had love in her heart. And therefore she could catch Krishna. But Kalayavan could not, because he didn't have love. Coming back to the story of King Muchukunda. Kalayavan was running and Krishna was walking. What did Krishna do? He wanted to kill Kalayavan. But at the same time, Krishna wanted to wake up Muchukunda. Because Muchukunda was sleeping for such a long time. What did Krishna do? He ran into that cave that Muchukunda was sleeping into. And Kalayavana came running. And now he saw one man sleep. Krishna was hiding, by the way. Now Kalayavan doesn't know about Muchukunda. Kalayavan thinks, oh, this is Krishna who's scared of me, and he's acting as if he's gone off to sleep. But actually he's not asleep. So Kalayavan came to Krishna. It was actually Muchukunda. Krishna was hiding and watching the show. Krishna was loving the drama. So Kalayavan came in and he kicked Muchukunda and said, Krishna, get out! Muchukunda turned sides. For 3 millenniums, nobody dared to even enter that cave. Little did Kalayavan know anything about it. He entered, he kicked Muchukunda. Muchukunda woke up and the whole cave was on fire. Kalayavan was burned down to ashes. Krishna came out. Krishna came out. He hit 2 fruits with the same stone. One, he killed Kalayavan. Well, he didn't. Muchukunda did. And second, he wanted to wake up Muchukunda. Well, he didn't. Kalayavan did. So Kalayavan woke up Muchukunda. Muchukunda reduced him to ashes. And Krishna got both his objectives fulfilled. When Muchukunda woke up, Krishna told Muchukunda, I have been waiting for a long time for you to wake up. Muchukunda couldn't recognize the Supreme Lord. He said, who are you? My eyes which have the power of fire, they can burn anyone and everyone to ashes. But when I look at you, my eyes look so pale and dull and dim. Who are you? You're so effulgent. You may be the sun god. Well, Krishna could have told Muchukunda, haven't you read the Bhagavad Gita? You're asking me who I am. Didn't you read? Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmin shashi suryayo pranavas sarva vedeshu shabdake paurusham nrishu punyo ganda pritivyam cha tejas chasmi vibhavasau jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapas chasmi tapasvishu bijam mam sarva bhutanam viddhi partha sanatanam buddhir matamasmi tejas vinamaham balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamashaschaye matta eveti tan viddhi natvaham teshu te mayi tribhir gunamayir bhavaihi evi sarvamidam jagat mohitam nabijanati mamebhya paramavyayam daivi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite namam dushkritino muda prapadyante naradhama mayaya aparita jnana asuram bhavamashrita chaturvidham bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna artho jijnasu artharthi jnani cha bharatarshava. Krishna could have just said all this. That I am the taste in water. I am the light of the sun and the moon. I am the life in every living being. I am the fragrance of Mother Earth. I am the strength of the strong. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. I am the effulgence of the effulgent. Krishna could have said, I am your eternal master, Muchukunda. Krishna didn't say that. Krishna folded his palms and he waited for Muchukunda to finish. Muchukunda said, are you the moon god? Are you the sun god? Who are you? Krishna said, my name is Vasudev, the son of King Vasudev. My name is Krishna. Muchukunda fell flat on the ground. He said, my Lord, how is it that I could not recognize you? And I have been sleeping all my life. how is it possible that you come into the cave and wake me up? There are so many devotees who are worshipping you and they don't see you. And here I am sleeping in the cave and you come and wake me up. When Muchukunda asked this, Krishna smiled and he said, this life you may not have worshipped me, but prarthitam prachuram purvam. In your past life, O Muchukunda, you have forgotten, but you were my devotee. In your previous birth, you were a devotee. This life, you did not do anything. You forgot me, but I didn't forget what you offered in your previous life. So the saying goes, even if you worship Krishna in your past life and you go off to sleep, Krishna will come and wake you up and give darshan. This is how much the Supreme Lord remembers the past activities of his devotees. Little service performed, Krishna remembers. In the Puranas, there is one more story. The story goes, there was a man who was in love with a very beautiful girl. And he happened to meet her. He had planned to meet her in the middle of the forest. He got all the flowers to meet her and to gift it to her. But it just so happened, she came. And somehow they got into an argument. And instead of giving the flower to her, he just threw the flower in the air. Because he wanted to gift that flower bouquet to that girl whom he was in love with. But when there was an argument that broke up between the two, he said, I don't want to give you this flower, and he just threw it in the air. And because of that argument, all day, all night, he wasn't in a mood to eat or drink anything. You know, when you're upset about something, you don't feel like eating. When I said this in one assembly, one friend of mine was sitting at the back, and after the end of the talk, he said, I'm the exact opposite. When I'm not in a mood, I need more food. He said, I feel, well, that's the way I went it out. But then in this story, it wasn't like that. That man, because he got into an argument with this girl, he just threw the flowers in the air, and all day he didn't feel like eating anything. And he couldn't drink anything. And all night he was so disturbed with all the things that he went back and forth with that girl, he couldn't even sleep. In a few years from then on, he left his body. Next life, he reincarnated as Prahlad Maharaj. Why? Because that day when he fasted happened to be Nrsimha Chaturdashi. When Nrsimhadev appeared in the previous millennium, he appeared as Nrsimha, and that day was the day when the Lord had appeared. And it so happened when he threw the flower was carried by the wind and it fell into a Vishnu temple. And Nrsimha said, "Oh Prahlad, because of this past of yours, because you fasted on a Nrsimha Chaturdashi, and you threw the flowers in the air, you didn't intend to, but it reached me. Therefore, I blessed you to become Prahlad. And now when people worship Nrsimhadev, they worship Nrsimhadev with Prahlad on Nrsimha's lap." So Nrsimhadev said, "Oh Prahlad, this life, even if you didn't perform bhakti, I would have still come for you." Why? Prarthitam prachuram purvam. Because in your past lives, you have worshipped me. Prahlad said, "I didn't even intend to worship you." Krishna said, "Whether intend or not intend, that's your side of the story. But from my side of the story, I see you offered me flowers. From my side of the story, I see you fasted without food and water all day and night. This is all that I see." So the first quality that we can take in our heart is that even if the whole world forgets us, even if the whole world discredits us, even if the whole world criticizes us, let us tell ourselves, any sincere service performed, Krishna will never forget. Never forget. Many times we get into this race of proving to others, look how much I have done. But guess what? Even if you prove it to them, they will not remember it beyond a few years. And Krishna, even if you don't want to prove it to him, he will remember it even till a point when you yourself will forget. I myself will forget. We will all forget what we have done. But Krishna is so grateful, he never forgets even one sincere fruit offered to him with love. So walking out of today's discussion, point number one, when we serve Krishna, we should tell ourselves, I want to serve with all sincerity. I don't want to serve to impress anyone around. I don't want to serve to show someone how great a devotee I am. I just want to offer sincere, humble, selfless, loving service because my Lord notices every single leaf that is offered. Isn't that amazing? No? Yes. Second quality of Krishna. The second quality of Krishna that I would like to highlight is that he is all purifying. The more you associate with Krishna consciousness, the more our heart, our mind becomes free of lust, anger, greed, envy, vengeance. All of these negative vices which trouble us will all be washed off when we come close to Krishna. Because he's all pure. And anyone who approaches him becomes pure. I'll give you a few examples. In this world, let's say if I drop some food on the floor, you're going to bring in some cloth, right? You'll bring in some cloth and then you try to clean up that. What happens? What's on the floor gets cleaned up, but what happens to the cloth? It becomes dirty. When you try to clean something, the floor that you clean becomes clean, but the cloth that you use becomes dirty. But it's not the same with the sun. Think of a muddy pool of water. Just think of a little pool which has dirty water in it. When the sun evaporates that water, the muddy pool becomes clean, but the sun doesn't become dirty. The sun doesn't become dirty. The place becomes clean. There's no stink. Nobody knows where that dirty water is, and the sun remains as he is. The sun can purify, yet at the same time remain pure. And in the Shastra, in the Vedic wisdom texts of India, it's described, the Eastern wisdom texts of philosophy describe that the sun and the moon are like the eyes of God. So if the sun has this quality, what to speak of Krishna? He can purify without getting contaminated. In the very famous pastime of Putana, there was a very ugly demoness who came to attack Krishna when Krishna was only 6 days old. And she had smeared poison on her breasts. And she came as a mother to breastfeed Krishna with all that poison, thinking that Krishna as an innocent baby will drink the milk, and lo and behold, the poison will enter and she will be successful in killing the baby. That's what she thought. But it just so happened, she wanted to give the poison, but Krishna sucked her life air. Krishna accepted the poison, Krishna accepted the milk, and he started sucking her life now. Putana came to give only the poison, but Krishna knows how to take much more than what we know to offer. So he started sucking her life air, and Putana said, "No, stop! Don't trouble me like this." And Krishna said, "I can't let you go. I want to purify you completely. When you clean up a room, and if you just try mopping the whole place, you're going to have some dust allergy if you just leave it like that. You want to make sure you clean up the whole room, not just do it for 10 minutes and then leave it." So Krishna said, "I have started the process of cleaning. Now I can't leave it in the middle.
I'm going to clean up the whole consciousness. Putana, I'm going to kick out lust, anger, pride, envy, jealousy. All of these poison, not just of the body, but the poison in your consciousness. I'm going to take all of that away. Putana came to give the poison of her body, but Krishna accepted the poison of her consciousness. And at that point, when Putana fell flat to the ground dead, it's described, those residents of Vrindavan who saw this, they gave her the last rites. They set her body on the pyre and they set her body ablaze, giving her the last rites. And when they did that, fumes of aromatic, fragrant smell permeated towards Vrindavan. The whole of Vrindavan was filled with the fragrance of Putana's body. And it was astonishing. How could someone who was so evil, so ugly inside, filled with so much duplicity and deceit, how could someone like that, when they were given the last rites, how can their body smell so fragrant? And the answer given is only one reason. Because Krishna touched that body and he is all purifying. Putana was purified of all her contamination and she became fragrant with divine qualities. This is why it is said, the closer you get to God, the more saintly you become. This is a litmus test. If we are serving God, if we are trying to be good spiritual beings, and if we are not even having basic human etiquette, then we are going wrong somewhere. There is no example of a good devotee but a bad human being. It's not possible. Anybody who becomes a good devotee naturally becomes a compassionate human being. All good qualities must develop. Why? Because Krishna is all purifying. The more you chant the names of Krishna, the more we hear about Krishna, the more we serve Krishna, the more we think and meditate on Krishna, we must become purified. Instead of the desire to accumulate, the desire to give in charity, the desire not to be exploitative, but the desire to sacrifice, the desire to be compassionate, the desire to be selfless, the desire to be humble, the desire to be tolerant, the desire to be respectful. It must all come in the heart of someone who is genuinely practicing devotion to God. What is the use of coming to the temple every Sunday and we don't develop good qualities? What is the use? We want to live in this world as very wonderful human beings. What is the use of me putting this tilak and having these beads and chanting the holy name, but if I don't know how to respect anyone and everyone around me? If I pick up a fight with someone outside, with all this tilak and kanti and all of these markings, what do you think people are going to say? They will say, that person is innocent, but you seem to be a spiritualist. Where is all your good qualities then? And how do I tell them I have none? Charity begins at home. The quality of Krishna that I am trying to explain here is that he is all purifying. All purifying. When someone chants the names of God, their ability to tolerate provoking situations will better. If we get agitated at the drop of the hat, like for example, you don't find your watch. Who kept my watch? Where is it? If this is how we behave, and then I say, I am a devotee, I am chanting, what kind of example does that set? Exactly. Bad. And it's not about faking it. It's about genuinely developing those qualities. Our beloved spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, was like that. How tolerant. At the age of 70, he started all by himself a spiritual revolutionary movement worldwide. He would cook all by himself. He would sing all by himself. He would speak and give discourses all by himself. And he would serve all by himself. And the visitors would leave their plates all over the place. And after they leave, he would sit down, collect all those plates, mop the floor, wash the plates, and put it back in place. Why? Was he gaining something? Was he making money out of it? Nothing. He was doing it selflessly, out of love, out of compassion. Even when he had to go to the bathroom, it's described, he would stand in the line behind others. Now, if I was the founder of a worldwide movement, I would say, well, I need to go to the bathroom. I hope not, but I feel like. But Srila Prabhupada wasn't like that. Even at the age of 70, people in front of him were in their teens, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, and they were standing in a line in the queue to go to the bathroom, and Prabhupada would just stand behind them so humbly. We want to pray, my Lord, please help me become a better devotee. Please help me to become a better human being. Let my competitive, envious mentality be kicked out. Let me not think of competition. Let me think of cooperation. Let me think of being not selfish, but selfless. Let me think of putting the pains and pleasures of others first, above my pains and pleasures in life. The pleasures of others must become the pleasures in my life. Let me become happy by seeing others happy and not be envious of them. Let me become sad seeing others sad and not be happy. As you sow, so shall you reap. You were being so mean to me. Well, God's watching. Let me not be like that. What kind of a devotee am I? If I worship God on the altar, I chant His names, and I don't know how to behave with one and all who are all parts and parcels of the same God, what kind of devotion is that? So the second quality of God is He's all purifying. When you chant His names, the more we invest sincere, loving time in His service, He reciprocates by purifying us. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. Oh my Lord, you are the purest. And therefore, if someone remembers you, Om Pavitra Apavitro Va Sarvavastha Gatopi Va Yes Smaret Pundarikaksham Sa Bahyabhyantaraha Shuchihi. That the Lord is so pure, just remembering Him, just chanting His names, just hearing about Him, we become purified. So it's not about, I am not qualified, I am very bad person, I have all bad qualities. Oh well, it's because we have kept ourselves in the darkness. Let's switch on the light of divinity. Let's start spiritual practice. And by chanting the names of the Lord, history has been a proof that even sinners have become saints. How? By the purifying nature of the Lord. There was a lady, a very exalted, pious lady by the name Ahalya. It is described that she was married to a rishi called Gautama Rishi. Gautam Rishi, her husband, had gone to take bath. By then Indra, the Lord of heaven, he came as Gautam Rishi just to be with Ahalya because he loved Ahalya. Little did Ahalya know that this was a man in disguise. So she was talking to him very sweetly. And Indra, acting as Gautam Rishi, was talking to Ahalya very sweetly. So externally it seemed as if it was husband-wife talking to each other. But it wasn't so. When the actual Gautam Rishi came, he saw there was a Gautam Rishi, a fake one, in his own house. Gautam Rishi said, "Who are you?" He said, "I am Gautam Rishi." The actual Gautam Rishi said, "Well, I know it's you, Indra. Take the mask off." Indra came to consciousness and he said, please forgive me, what I did was not proper. What I did is not proper. This is infidelity. I shouldn't be doing this. Please forgive me. Gautam Rishi cursed Indra. And he looked at his wife Ahalya and he cursed her as well. Ahalya said, well, why am I at fault? I didn't even know that it's someone in disguise. So Gautam Rishi said, how can you be so stone-hearted that you can't even know the difference between the touch of your husband and the touch of another man? Because you acted like a stone, I curse you to become a stone. And Ahalya in no time became a piece of rock. But then before she transformed into a piece of stone, she looked at her husband and she said, I know my husband is very kind-hearted. As you have given me this curse, please also tell me how this is a blessing. So Gautam Rishi said, actually very soon the Supreme Lord is going to appear as Sri Ram. And he is going to walk past you and he will step his lotus feet on your head. And as soon as he does that and you get touched by the dust of his lotus feet, the stone body will melt and you will regain your form. I am doing this only so that you can get the touch of the Lord's lotus feet. When Sri Ram appeared to the scene during his pastime, he came to that rock and very lovingly remembering Ahalya, he placed his lotus feet. And it is described as soon as he placed his lotus feet, the stone cracked. All the sins of Ahalya were taken away. And she regained her very beautiful golden complexioned form. Why? Because Sri Ram, the Supreme Lord, is all purifying. Just by his touch, he purified. So this is the second quality. And I want to tell you the third quality. What was the first quality that we mentioned of God? That he never forgets the service that you perform. What is the second quality? When you perform that service, you become purified. And third quality, and the final one for today, he is our ever well-wishing best friend. You give him one leaf and he thinks you have given him 1,000 leaves. He is more interested in multiplying our service than we ourselves are interested in doing it. He is more interested in getting us close to him than we are interested in going close to him. That's the love that he has for us. Krishna had a friend by the name Sudama. Now Krishna and Sudama, they grew up in the same school. Sudama and Krishna were best friends in their childhood. It's described one time the teacher gave a homework. And the homework was you had to memorize one verse, one passage. The next day the teacher asked Sudama, did you memorize the verse? And Sudama got up scratching his head and he said, oops, I forgot the homework. The teacher said, okay, I will give you a punishment. You have to go into the forest and collect some dry wood. Collect some wood, dry wood. Now next it was Krishna's turn. The teacher looked at Krishna and said, Krishna, did you memorize the verse? Did you memorize the passage that you had to? Now what do you think about Krishna's memory? 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita in 40 straight minutes. Krishna just had a casual conversation with his friend on a battlefield, and that happened to become the greatest philosophical text of the East, Bhagavad Gita. It's not that, Krishna told Arjun that you ask me these questions and I'll come prepared and I'll carry a notebook like this and I'll slip it into my pocket, and between the questions I'm just going to move the index cards and see the solutions to the answers to the question. It wasn't anything like this. On the spot, Arjuna just asked a few questions and Krishna answered them, and that happened to become the greatest philosophical text. That's how intelligent knowledgeable Krishna is. But here when the teacher asked him, did you memorize a verse? Krishna thought to himself that if I say a yes, I have to stay here. But if I say a no, I get to go with my friend into the middle of the forest. I'll get punished along with my friend. Isn't that amazing? So Krishna got up and he said, scratching his head, oops, I forgot. And the teacher said, both of you into the forest. That was the friendship Krishna shared with Sudama. Now, as destiny would have it, when they grew up, Krishna ended up becoming the king. And Sudama became a very poor person. He didn't have anything. It's described from his place when he had to walk somewhere. It would take him 11 days at least. Why? Because he didn't have the energy, the strength to even walk, because he hadn't eaten anything for days. His wife, when she had to feed the children, she would go in the neighborhood and beg for some food. That's the level of poverty Krishna's best friend Sudama was into. Krishna was the king and Sudama was a poverty-stricken beggar. One fine day, Sudama's wife Sushila told Sudama, why don't you go and ask your friend Krishna? Do you remember Krishna? He said, well, I remember Krishna, but I am pretty sure Krishna doesn't remember me. It's been a long time that we were in school. He has become the king and I am a poverty-stricken beggar. I don't think he has better things to remember than remembering me. Sudama's wife said, why don't you go to Krishna and beg for a few gold coins? It wouldn't reduce his property. His treasury is filled with gold coins. Just beg for a few. And with that, we can live a very happy life. Sudama said, okay, I will do. But before I ask that, I must give him something, because in friendship, there's give and take. You can take, but you have to give first. So he asked his wife, what do I have to give? The wife said, we have nothing except some uncooked, unpolished rice. You take that. Sudama said, how will I even give this to Krishna? He's a king. He eats sweets and I'm going to give him uncooked rice? She said, well, that's all that we have. So he tied it up on a waistcloth and walked all the way to the kingdom of Krishna. When he reached the outskirts, Krishna's kingdom was guarded by security. The army was guarding Krishna's palace. And they looked at this beggar and they said, who are you? He said, well, my name is Sudama. They said, who Sudama? You're saying as if you're a big king. Who are you? He said, well, I am, how do I tell you? They say, oh, well, you don't have to tell us. Look at you, you're a beggar. It's not that difficult a question. He said, no, I am a friend. Whose friend? Friend of another beggar? No, I'm friend of the king. Which king? Who king? Sudama mustered some courage and he said, Krishna. Now the security took offense. They said, how dare you think that our king can befriend a beggar like you? If you speak like this, we will behead you. He said, you can do whatever you want with me, but that's the truth. I studied in the same school as the king, Krishna. One of the security man, he went inside and he told Krishna, there's one poverty-stricken person. His cloth is completely torn. He's ill-clad. And it seems he hasn't eaten anything for lifetimes. He seems like a skeleton. It's like Halloween. Seems like he's so weak. And when we asked him what his name was, he said something like Sudha. Krishna said, Sudama? He said, yes. And that was the time when they were actually putting on the crown for Krishna. with the upper cloth on his shoulder and the royal shoes of the king. And Krishna pushed everything away and ran to the door as soon as he heard the name Sudama. He went to Sudama, held Sudama by the hand, and he embraced him so tightly. Krishna was bathing Sudama with his tears. And he said, Sudama, you forgot me. I have been remembering you every single day in my life, but you forgot. Sudama said, no, my lord. I remembered you every single day in my life, but I thought you forgot me because you're the king. Krishna was embracing Sudama so tight. Sudama was embracing Krishna so tight, but both of them let go. Why? Sudama saw that Krishna's body was so soft. He thought that if he embraced Krishna so tight with his bones, there may be impressions of those bones on the soft butter-like body of Krishna. And Krishna, he let go of Sudama thinking, if I embrace him tighter, he will die. Krishna held Sudama by the hand and he looked at Sudama. Sudama started talking out of enthusiasm. Krishna said, shh, don't talk. Let me just observe this moment that I am with my best friend. Sudama, I am with that person for whom I lied to my teacher that I forgot a verse, just to be with you in the middle of the forest. Krishna with his own hands took Sudama into the royal court, the main palace. From both sides the ministers got up and they looked at Krishna. They were thinking, who is this beggar that the king is having mercy on today? And Krishna came into the palace announcing loudly, look who's here, look who's here, look who's here. And the ministers can't look who's there. Who is this? Krishna said, my best friend. Krishna took Sudama by the hand and made him sit on his own throne. Here was Sudama seated on the throne of the king of Dwarka with a very beautiful canopy, with a very beautiful white umbrella on the top. And on both sides were Rukmini and Satyabhama, the wives of Krishna, fanning Sudama with the most royal whisker fan. Sudama was overwhelmed with what was happening. Krishna touched the lotus feet of Sudama and he saw the sole of Sudama's feet and they were bleeding. There were thorns on the feet of Sudama because he walked barefoot from his home to the kingdom of Krishna. He didn't even have a footwear on. Krishna looked at the lotus feet of Sudama, looking at the thorns at Sudama's feet. Krishna washed the feet of Sudama, not with water, but with his own tears. There is a tradition that when guests come, you wash their feet with holy water to show respect. But Krishna didn't even wait for that holy water to come. He bathed the feet of Sudama with his own running tears. Then he looked at those thorns and he said, I can pull these thorns with my hand, but it wouldn't do justice to my love for Sudama. Krishna sat down and with his own teeth, he pulled out the thorns of Sudama's lotus feet. The whole kingdom was erupting in disbelief at what they were seeing. Krishna with his own hands performed arati, a sign of offering affection and love for his friend. And then Krishna sat there and with his own hands he fed the most tastiest, sumptuous foodstuffs to Sudama. And he was feeding with his hand. He was giving him a sweet. Then he was asking him, should I get some water for you? Should I get some beverage for you? Are you okay? Should I fan you? Do you need one more fan? Are you feeling hot? Are you feeling cold? Are you comfortable? And Sudama was overwhelmed. He couldn't believe what was happening to him. He who had not eaten a single morsel of food in so many days was now eating the most tastiest foodstuffs fed by the hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Sudama felt, well, that's too much. Krishna said, that's not all. Now we have just met. Now you please come onto my bed. Krishna put Sudama on his own bed. He said, turn to your left. After a full meal, when you turn to your left, it helps in digestion. You turn to your left. Sudama was put on Krishna's bed to turn to the left, and Krishna was fanning him and telling Sudama, please tell me something about yourself. Where do you live? How is it that so many days you didn't remember me? I thought you will come running to me. How could it be that you forgot me, and what got you here? And Sudama was so choked with emotion, he couldn't even ask Krishna why he came for. He said, I just came to see you. He stayed a few days with Krishna, and he was so happy just meeting Krishna, he forgot to even ask Krishna for those few gold coins. In joy, Sudama started walking home. Started walking back from Krishna's kingdom in Dwarka, back to Sudama's home. As he was walking, Krishna was holding his hand and walking with him. Some members said, Krishna, if you want, you can take Sudama on a very beautiful chariot from the kingdom up to the outskirts of the kingdom. Krishna said, no, I will not do that. I will make Sudama walk. Why? Because it is very auspicious for great personalities like Sudama to bless my insignificant kingdom with the dust of their lotus feet. If they go on a chariot, I don't get that dust. But I want Sudama to walk so that I am blessed by the dust of his feet. When Sudama walked all the way to his home, he saw a big palace in place of his home. Instead of a little cottage where he lived, he saw a big palace. Sudama thought, wait a minute, I am at the wrong address. For a moment he thought, he's so weak, he's so thin. By the movement of the breeze, it's possible he may have flipped 180 degrees and maybe he walked back to Dwarka. He thought maybe walking, I've become so thin that by the movement of the breeze, I've got flipped and I've gone back to the place where I started from. He didn't realize he was in his own place. Everything had changed. Sudama's wife came running. Sudama's children came running outside their palace, and they said, look, we have these most expensive jewelry. Look at the silken cloth that we are wearing. Look at the children. They're all looking like children of some king. Thank you, Sudama. Thank you for asking Krishna for this magic. Sudama started crying. He said, Krishna loved me so much while I was there that I even forgot the purpose why I went there. I didn't even ask him for anything. And without me asking anything, Krishna has transformed my home into a palace, my family into a kingdom, my wife to be very happy, and my children to be the prince. Everything changed except Sudama's clothing. You know why? Because that was the cloth which got him to Krishna. It was that poverty-stricken, ill-clad clothing which got him to Krishna. Sudama thought to himself, I thought that I was the one remembering my friend. Little did I know, I can never match the love that God has for me, that my friend has for me. The life of Sudama is just an example. There are so many such examples. In the southern part of India, there was a person by the name Kanakadas. He was born in a family which was not considered to be very Brahminical. And in the temple there was a rule, only those who are of the priestly caste can enter the temple. He was a very great devotee. He tried to enter the temple and the priest kicked him out and said, "You're not qualified. You're low-born." They were very judgmental. He stood near a window and looked at Krishna from there. He said, "My dear Krishna, I can't enter because of my birth. I can't see you from there, but I use this window to look at you." Krishna's deity, which was standing, turned towards the window, only to give darshan, blessings and reciprocation with that one devotee. That devotee showered his love, and Krishna as a deity completely turned his direction only to reciprocate with this one devotee. And one last story for today, elaborating the third principle, that Krishna really loves us. Krishna loves us more than what we love him or what we can ever love him. One time there was a devotee. He was born in the family of cobblers. You see, in India, the family of cobblers is not considered to be very saintly. Here was a person who was born in a family of cobblers, and he was a great devotee. As a result, the whole kingdom came to him to ask spiritual questions. They would come to him and ask spiritual questions, and he would answer. What happened? All the priests in that kingdom, they felt insecure. We are the ones whom you should approach for questions. And you leave our association and you're going to this cobbler and asking him spiritual questions? What does he know after all? They said, well, he gives better answers than you can. They said, this is enough. We will go to the king. They complained to the king. Enough is enough. Dear king, we as the Brahmanas, the priests in this kingdom, we want to lodge a complaint. There is a cobbler who thinks he's very special. I want you to take him to task. Tell him to stop preaching. Tell him to stop being a saint. People are going to him for questions. They should come to us. The king called this cobbler and told the cobbler, do you think you're a big saint? He said, no, I am a cobbler. Then why do people come to you? He said, well, I just speak about God and they feel inspired, so they come. The king said, stop speaking about God. The cobbler said, well, that's just an individual choice. I don't think I'm going to stop. The king said, then you must die. He said, well, I'm okay to die. Anyway, I have to die someday. I'm ready to die today, but I'm not going to stop speaking about God. The priests got so envious of him. They said, O king, we want you to test his devotion. They kept a test. What was the test? They told this cobbler to bring his deity. Deity is the manifestation of God, the representation of God. So they told the cobbler to bring his deity. The deity was kept in the middle of the room. And on one side was the cobbler, on the other side were the Brahmanas. The king said, the Brahmanas will chant mantras, and the cobbler later will sing his song. We will see where the deity goes. The Brahmanas started chanting. They started chanting their mantras. With all the smoke coming out of the fire sacrifice, nothing happened. Now was the time for this cobbler. The cobbler was told, you try your devotion and attract the attention of the deity. The name of the deity was Gopal. The cobbler sat there. He said, I don't know any of these mantras, but I know one thing. Gopal! Gopal! He cried with devotion. And the third time when he called out, Gopal came running as the deity and sat on his lap. The king said, this is astonishing. This is astonishing. You Brahmanas, you priests, you're envious of him. You think he's not qualified, but the deity went to him. If you were so qualified, the deity should have come to you. The Brahmanas said, oh, wait a minute. It's not done. That deity is his deity. That deity is his deity. So there's some black magic right there. He's sitting and doing some mysterious black magic voodoo. And he's attracting that deity to his own lap. What's the big deal? The king said, okay, then I will keep my deity. Neither the cobbler's deity nor the brahmana's deity. And then we will see what happens. The brahmana said, sure. He asked the cobbler, what do you think? Cobbler said, well, any deity is the same deity. It's the same Gopal. You can keep your deity, no problem. The king kept his deity and told the brahmanas to chant their mantras. The brahmanas had the rituals, but they didn't have the heart. So they started chanting their mantras. More smoke came from the fire. But nothing happened to the deity. Then the king told the cobbler, now you call the deity. The cobbler said, well, I don't know these mantras, but I know only one thing. Gopal! With all his heart, with love, he called out. And the third time he called out, that deity came running and sat on his lap. The king said, oh Brahmanas, what do you have to say to that? The Brahmanas said, we would like to become his students. We would like to take him as our teacher, and we would like to become his students. And that cobbler, although he was born in a cobbler family, he became the teacher of the whole kingdom because he had love in his heart. We discussed 3 qualities of God. The first quality was, he never forgets the service that we render. Second, when we render the service, he purifies us, kicks out all the negative vices, and brings out the good in us. And third, he is our ever well-wishing best friend who loves us unconditionally. So therefore, when we serve him, we should serve with love. Thank you very much.
We have some time for 1 or 2 questions. If anybody has any questions, we can ask. Okay.
Please ask me simple questions. I don't have answers to all questions. Keep it simple.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Thank you so much for yet another wonderful lecture and discussion here. I wanted to ask you, the 3 things that Krishna does, but some people may still be, I'm talking about myself, like, I'm chanting, but I may not be absorbed in chanting. So, does he, I'm not even doing it out of love. So will he still purify that, by just his name, chanting like my anarthas?
Krishna loves you even if you don't chant. Krishna's love is so unconditional. He's the one who gave you those beads.
Hari Hari.
So even if you don't attentively chant, Krishna still purifies. And brings you to the point of asking this question, I think I'm not chanting properly. It's Krishna's kindness that he opens up that eye within us. Krishna loves us unconditionally. It's like the love of the mother, Srila Prabhupada explained. Even if the child is very mischievous, even if the child runs around everywhere and makes lots of mistakes, even if the child forgets the mother when he turns 18, the mother never forgets the child. And that's just one mother in one life. And we are talking about Krishna, who is the mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, grandfather, grandmother, spiritual uncle and spiritual master, and the super soul for all of us, for all of eternity. His love is unconditional.
So the patience is, I guess, required because, the anarthas I can still see. Sometimes I don't even know those anarthas, but, when the situations happen, it just comes, but then afterwards I would realize. So I just want all of those things to go away, and it's, I guess, the patience, dhairyat, as we read in Nectar of Instruction. So please bless me. Please.
So we pray for purification. We pray to Krishna, my Lord, I am trying my best. You please kindly help me. I am yours, my Lord. I simply want to serve you. I belong to you. I want to serve you. Please help me. With that sincerity, we follow the process that Srila Prabhupada gave. And Krishna is the one who drags us to his lotus feet. We have no power to go to him. Just like a little child has no power to climb the shoulder of his father. But all that the child can do is put his hands and legs on the floor and start crying. And the father lifts him up and puts him on the shoulder. So our duty is to simply do our duty and cry for help. And Krishna is the one who lifts us up and places on his shoulder.
Wonderful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Is there any one last question? You can take one last.
Even if there's no question, if there's any correction, senior Vaishnavas in the assembly, I am new to the community. I don't know any of you. If there's any mistake, please kindly forgive me and please point it out so that I don't repeat it again.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. As you say, it's like simple questions. So my question is very simple, I believe. So when we will see you again here?
Maybe after the winter. Okay. Yes, one last one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, the third quality that you were speaking, Krishna being our ever well-wishing friend, and the pastime of Sudama, we could see Krishna's love to Sudama, like Sudama walked all the way and Krishna immediately reciprocated. But that is not how most of our experiences are, right? Like even if we have some difficulties, we may pray to Krishna and we may not see any immediate reciprocation, right? So how should we still understand this story from this perspective? Because the story was very intense, right? Like Sudama came, Krishna showed him so much respect, so much love, and then he went back and he was immediately rich and all that. So that was quite an intense, but that sometimes may not match what our experiences are, because either we don't have correct perspective. So how should we understand that?
Well, we don't even go through the poverty that Sudama went through. Krishna has actually kept us very wonderfully placed. It takes eyes of gratitude to see what we receive. Sudama had no food for days, and he still didn't forget Krishna. If it was me, I would have given up my kantimala and tilak. I'm wearing this because I know there's prasadam after the program. But in all circumstances, we should know that Krishna is my ever well-wishing best friend. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj used to give a fascinating example, and I would like to share that here. He would say, those from the Indian background will definitely be able to understand this, and maybe also those from the American background, but I haven't seen an American parent do it, but maybe an Indian parent, because I grew up back in India. When I was a kid, I know my father used to take me as a child and play with me like this. Is that something that you do in America as well? You do that? Okay. universal fatherhood, right? So parents, they take their child, and as a little baby, they play with the child. Now multiple things happen there. When they do that for the first time with the child is traumatized. Because the child feels the person whom I trust the most is throwing me up in the air. But little did he know, and little did he see, that the hands which threw him were the hands eagerly waiting to hold him. Right? Second, the father throws only as much as the child can take. He's not going to throw you to Jupiter. It's not going to be like outer space, mission Mars. It's just going to be as much as the child takes. And third point, when the child finds it to be fun and the father stops, the child will be like, more. So this is what happens with us. Krishna, as our father, puts us through difficulty. First time when we go through, we are traumatized because we don't see his hands of protection. Second point, he puts us through only that much difficulty that we can handle. And three, when we get used to it, when life is simple, we say, Krishna, I want more. Like Queen Kunti. Because when we go through trouble, that's when we can sincerely call out to Krishna. So His Holiness Bhakticharya Swami Maharaj used to say, when we go through troubles, we should remember this example. That Krishna as the Father is putting us through some trouble only so that we look down to the Father and the Father holds us. We depend on His protection and He gives us only as much as we can take. And three, when there are problems, we remember with all our heart, we can remember the Lord. So with gratitude, we should understand, if everything is fine at this moment, it is Krishna's kindness upon us. So with gratitude, even when there are reversals, and even when our prayers are not answered, we should think, I am in the air now, but I know it's my Lord who's going to hold me when I fall. Is that okay?
Thank you so much, Prabhu. One more round of applause for him, please. Thank you so much. The next part of the program will be the prasadam, which will be on the third floor, out of this door on third floor. We just have like 15-20 minutes before we start the Damodar Ashtakam again. So please do that, have your prasadam as soon as possible and come down. His Grace Amananda Prabhu will be singing the Damodar Ashtakam. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Seven 7:30 to 8.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. What? Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, H
Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Sorry. Would love to hear you sing.
Namami Sharam Sache Anandaru
लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपम् लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् यशोदाभियो लोकलादवमानम् परामृष्टामाप्यन्ततो धृत्य गोप्या रुदन्तमोहोर्नेत्रं युग्मामृजन्ताम् कराम्भोजयुग्मेन सातङ्कनेत्राम् रुदन्तमोहोर्नेत्रं युग्ममृजन्ताम् कराम्भोजयुग्मेन सातङ्कनेत्राम् श्वासखं पात्रिरेखाङ्ककण्ठा स्थितग्रीवं दामोदरं भक्तिबद्धम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तम् आख्यापयन्तम् तदीशितज्ञेषु भक्तैर्जितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमातस्तं सदा हृदि वन्दे वरं देवा मोक्षं न मोक्षवरं वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहमरेशदपि वरं देवा मोक्षं न मोक्षवरं वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहमरेशदपि गोपाल बालम् सदा मे मनस्य वीरास्तां किमन्ये इदं ते मुखाम्भोजम् अत्यन्तनीले घृतं कुन्तलैः स्निग्धरक्तैश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तादरं मे मनस्या विरास्ताम् अलं लक्ष्यलाभे बिम्बरक्तादरं मे नमो देवा दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख जालतिमग्न नमो देवा दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख जालतिमग्न कृपा दृष्टिवृष्टातिदीनं बतानो गृहणे क्षमामज्ञां मे दक्षिदृश कृपा दृष्टिवृष्टातिदीनं बतानो गृहणे क्षमामज्ञां मे दक्षिदृश कुबेरात्मजो बद्धमूर्तैव यद्वा त्वया मोचितो भक्तिभाजो कृतौ च कुबेरात्मजो बद्धमूर्तैव यद्वा त्वया मोचितो भक्तिभाजो कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकां मे प्रयच्छ मोक्षे ग्रहो मे दामोदर तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकां मे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मे दामोदर
स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मे स्थिर दामोदरेह नमस्ते धामे राधिति धामे स्वसरामे नमस्ते स्तुधाम्ने स्फुरादितिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथ विश्वसरामे नमो राधिकाय त्वदीय प्रियाय नमो अनंत लीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकाय त्वदीय प्रियाय नमो अनंत लीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare Hare Everyone Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram. Oh, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Namah Krishna Radhavaya Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Namah Krishna Yadavaya Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana Gopal Govinda Shri Madhusudana Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana Giridhari Gopinath Madana Nitai Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल किशोर किशोरी की श्री श्री गौर निताई की श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन की श्री प्रभुपाद की युग धर्म हरि नाम संकीर्तन की निताय गौर प्रेमानंद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय 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 राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय 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 गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय 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 राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय 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 गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय 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 राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद राधा रमण हरि गोविंद गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
हरि
see you next time.